You're listening to CX Passport, the show about creating great customer experiences with a dash of travel talk. Each episode, we'll talk with our guests about great CX, travel, and just like the best journeys, explore new directions we never anticipated. I'm your host, Rick Denton. I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Let's get going. CX Passport listeners, welcome to the holiday season of 2022. Can't believe we're already here, but what a fantastic place to be. I always love this season. And in fact, I'm going to take a little bit of time off, do a little bit of traveling with my family. I'll tell you about that trip when I get back. In the interim, though, I don't want to leave you without an episode. So just like last year, I've collected a few samples from the First Class Lounge to share with you today in this 2022 First Class Holiday Special. We're going to start off with Mary Drummond coming to us from Atlanta. I still get a chuckle when I think of how ashen white Mary's face went when I asked the classic question of what is a food you were forced to eat. All that travel sometimes can be a little exhausting. So it's time to head to the First Class Lounge. Let's take a little break here. Join me here. We'll move quickly and have a little fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
So my baby moon during my pregnancy, I actually went to a part of Brazil called Bahia. Mm-hmm. And it's on the beach, and the south of Bahia has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And we went to a town called Trancoso, and Trancoso is on the top of a cliff, essentially, that looks down on just endless beaches. And there's a beach nearby where a kind of a dark water river meets the ocean, and then you have a clash of that crystal clear blue ocean with the dark waters. Yeah. And it's still very preserved. There are actual indigenous tribes in that area that still inhabit the land there. And it's so far, there are places that you can only get to by helicopter or by boat or in a really good Jeep. And it's a little piece of heaven. And I would recommend Trancoso is the name of the city.
Absolutely going to get that into the show notes, but I may hide that until I get a chance to go to Trancoso before everyone else discovers it. I know I slaughtered the accent. Forgive me. Yours is much better than mine. What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
So I do have this dream of taking a cruise down the fjords. So leaving Copenhagen and going all the way up to St. Petersburg. With the current scenario, I don't know how that stop in St. Petersburg is going to be. Maybe I'll stop in Helsinki. It'll be a little bit better. But kind of going through the Scandinavian countries and up into Finland, that has always kind of been a dream of mine.
It is beautiful up there. I have had the opportunity I haven't done Norway, but I have been to St. Petersburg. Was visiting a friend teaching English there, but also had a chance to be there in the Soviet Union era, if you can believe that.
Wow.
But it's a beautiful city, and I do hope that eventually, as travelers, sometimes I just wish politics would go away and we could just experience the globe sans politics. But no, you're right. It may be a little while, but yes, get to St. Petersburg someday. What is a favorite thing to eat?
Okay, I'm a huge foodie, so that's a really difficult question for me to answer because I just love food in general.
Yeah.
I do have a soft spot for steak tartare and frites, so I'm just going to go with that. Like a well-made steak tartare with the perfect pommes frites is.
Oh, that sounds really good. It's getting a little later in the day. I'm starting to get hungry. So these conversations are never a good idea depending on the time of day. What's the flip side, Mary? What's the thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
Oh my God. Pea soup.
Yay. No pea soup for you? Folks, I know it's an audio podcast, but she pulled her hand up to her mouth as if she was starting to feel ill just with the mention of the word pea soup.
Anyone who knows me since childhood knows about this childhood trauma, and it's kind of a laughing joke in my family, my deep hatred of pea soup. All of my siblings have some staple that they absolutely hate. For one sister, it's bananas. The other one, it's peanut butter. My brother hates cooked carrots very specifically, and I hate pea soup. And I haven't even tasted it. It's probably been 30 years since I've had pea soup because Yeah, that sounds about right. About 30 years, but just the thought of it is too much for me. I can't. It's so gross to try to feed that to a child. Here is this bowl of green goop, and now you're forced to eat it. Yes, we use it as vomit in films,
right,
but you should totally eat this.
Have at it, kid. Have at it. I'm starting to think that you are more passionate about that than some of the customer experience stuff we were talking about earlier. I really saw you get fired up there. I love it. And truly, she did, listeners. It was the hand went over the mouth right there as she was describing it. What is one travel item, not including your phone, that you will not leave home without?
I know, an adapter to be able to plug your devices into anything.
Ah, the reactions that food can bring to our minds. Loved hearing Mary's story there. Now we're going to head across the pond to talk with Gregorio Uglioni over in Switzerland. He certainly made me jealous with his dream travel location from the past. How about you join me here in the First Class Lounge? We'll move quickly here and have a little fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
It was Mauritius.
Ooh, tell me about that.
That was simple. And again, for me, and I hope that you understand that and you are feeling that I am really focused on people. And for me, Mauritius was something I was dreaming of. And I am really happy that my wife was also dreaming of. And therefore, we decided to spend our honeymoon in Mauritius. First of all, we went to Dubai. We spent 3 days there, and then we flight to Mauritius. And this was really a dream vacation for us.
Man, I've heard such good things about it. It's an exotic destination. I hope to be there sometime. Well, and so what about for you? What is a dream travel location that's your future that you've not been to yet?
This is a good question, and it's also linked to the past. Hawaii.
Tell me about that. I haven't been to Hawaii in a long, well, I can tell you, 2001. So it's been a while. Tell me about it. What draws you there?
Magnum PI.
Oh, well, I guess whatever markets, if the Hawaii Tourism Board is using Magnum PI.
That was really a big dream, because I was watching these movies, and I was always thinking that there it's really need to be really nice, and it was in the younger age, and therefore I was dreaming of flying there.
Oh, very nice. Now, let me ask you this: Magnum PI, the current version of it, or the one from the 80s with Tom Selleck?
Tom Selleck, the old one.
For my listeners, because this is an audio podcast, Greg has not gone all the way. He does not have the big Tom Selleck mustache. Don't worry. But I can tell that he's ready to head to Hawaii, given the grin that I'm seeing. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Oh, this is really a difficult question, because I am half Swiss and half Italian, and therefore I really like and enjoy having dinner together with my family. But I try to reduce it to two different dishes. One is sushi, and the other one, sorry, I need to say that it's spaghetti.
Well, hey, look, you don't need to apologize for that at all. Spaghetti is good. Now, don't combine spaghetti and sushi, but yes, the two are wonderful things. Now, let's go the other way. What is a thing your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Oh, this is a story, and I think your audience will laugh for the next few minutes. I don't like spinach, or I didn't like spinach.
Okay.
And my mother told me these are green spaghetti, and therefore I ate them.
What a brilliant... Parents are amazing how we will lie to our children, and it works.
Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe with your child, you will be talking about green spaghetti as well. That may be one of your tips. Let's go back to travel. Let's close out here the First Class Lounge. What is one travel item, not including your phone, that you will not leave home without?
It's my cap. It's really, I always have a cap. It's not to advertise my podcast. You already did that, but when I'm going on vacation, I always have a cap with me.
Gregorio, I too value the cap. The hairs on my head aren't as thick as they used to, and it's nice to have that cap there to prevent from sunburn. So I am with you on making sure that that is an item that I have packed. Next on the list is Troy Figgins. We're heading back to the U.S. Troy's got a little story in there about a dark alley, karaoke, and Japan. Troy, I know it can be a long flight, even from the West Coast, but certainly if you're coming further, a long flight into Hawaii. And so sometimes it can be nice to stop down in the first class lounge. So let's have a little change of pace here. Join me here in the first class lounge. We will move quickly here and hopefully have some fun. Now, I don't know if this answer to this question is going to be Hawaii or not. It's okay if it is. But what is a dream travel location from your past?
Oh, from my past. Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in the first class lounge. It's sort of reminds me of your baller suite in Hoboken.
That's right. We were talking about that, weren't we? Of all things, the words baller suite and Hoboken have not been uttered together all that often, but it really did exist a couple weeks ago. Yes, but yes, Troy.
Yes. Favorite travel location from the past, I would say, would have to be Japan. I was lucky enough to go to Japan with a Japanese coworker that I worked with at the time, Dr. Mitsunori Ono, and I went to Japan to meet with some vendors we were working with, and he kind of took me around and showed me the true sort of the behind the scenes Japan, if you will. We went to a couple of sort of just amazing classic behind the scenes Japanese places. We went to a restaurant that only specialized in uni. So
wow.
Yeah. And so it had uni from all over the different islands of Japan, just incredibly interesting and weird and delicious. and at night we of course went to and did karaoke. And so we went to a karaoke place that I could not get back to in a million years. It was like down a few alleyways up into what looked like a nondescript sort of office building, down a hallway to an unmarked door.
Doctor, are you planning to leave my body somewhere back in the back of this?
Right. Right.
Wow.
Right. Yes, very fun.
What a spectacular experience. Yeah. So I don't know how you're going to top that, but what is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Yeah. So on my short list, I kind of want to go to Corsica. So south of France, part of France, islands, but we were speaking of mashups of cultures and fusion. Corsica is sort of this blending of French and Italian, but they've got their own sort of culture as well. They were they've been conquered by a whole bunch of different countries over the years, but they maintain sort of this weird independent rebellious nature, even though they're part of France. And so I think that sort of weaves through again the food and the attitudes and everything. From a topographical standpoint, it's got like amazing huge mountains and incredible beaches. It's not super populated, so the roads are all these little 2-lane roads.
Cool.
It's sort of circumvent the island. So I think it'd be really fun to go there.
That would be fun. I always love it when a guest throws something new. I've not had anyone say Corsica before, so that's fun.
Oh, good.
Now you've got me Googling after this to more information about it.
That's right.
I like that.
Right.
Well, we've talked about food a lot. And so I'm going to tell you that King's Hawaiian is not allowed to be an answer to this question, but what is a favorite thing to eat?
Other than King's Hawaiian.
That's right. I know that would be the answer. I understand. So what is your second favorite thing to eat?
It's so hard to pick one thing. I mean, we're coming off the 4th of July weekend. I'm not sure when this is airing, but we're this week is just post 4th of July. So I got to go with the burger. I mean, it's like quintessentially American, right? For me, I think it's like this perfect combination of opposites, right? You've got sort of the warm side and the cold side. You've got that, saltiness of sort of the meat and maybe bitterness of sort of onions and the sweet of maybe some ketchup. It just has a sort of great sort of combination of stuff. I mean, gosh, it's like can be very super simple all the way to incredibly complicated gourmet. So it's got a lot of range, and I don't know, it just never gets old. It's just an amazing sort of combination of
I can tell I'm interviewing you because for listeners, I'm in the central USA time zone. Troy's out west, and so I've caught him before lunch. So the way he describes that just is so beautiful, and but I'm wondering how much of that is hunger inspired. It certainly makes me want to go get a burger right now. How dare you? Well, let's try to counteract that. What is a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
Oh gosh, my parents were great. I mean, they really, for me and my sister, they had us try a lot of different things. we were pretty adventurous eaters, right off the bat. So we weren't picky at all. We got to try a lot of things. I'd say the one thing that I don't hate, but I just have, I don't know, maybe bad memories of is, when we would go out to eat as a family, if the place, this is going to date myself a little bit, but if the place we went to had a salad bar, how on salad bars, they always have those pickled jalapenos.
Oh, yeah.
My dad would always challenge me to a pickled jalapeno eating contest. And so, man, I even smell those things now. It just makes me sweat. It's
Oh, that's awesome, Troy. You're talking to a Texan here, so I like my jalapenos and I like my spices, but I love, oh my gosh, I love the story. I love the visual of young Troy being challenged by Dad Troy. That's awesome.
It was like that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're just sitting across from each other.
Right.
Going
going
toe to toe and eating jalapenos.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, let's close out the First Class Lounge. What is one travel item, not including your phone, that you will not leave home without?
Well, I travel pretty light. I like to just bring minimal amount of stuff. In fact, I just brought a travel backpack, which is very small. I did this so that I can fly on some of the discount airlines that don't allow you to have it carry on. So it's going to just be my backpack. I'd say the one thing that I always pack nonstop is a jacket that I have from Patagonia that I love. Patagonia as a brand, and this jacket is just, from a functionality standpoint, is amazing. I mean, it's good in cold weather, it's good in warm weather. So no matter where I'm going, it feels like I'm always going to need that at some point. And then it just rolls up to this tiny fraction of its its unrolled size, that for someone like me who is trying to pack everything into a backpack, it's pretty great.
Oh, Troy, I am so with you on the hamburger. Man, I love a good cheeseburger, something I can really sink my teeth into. Now I'm getting hungry. Recording this at 8 a.m. and I'm thinking about cheeseburgers. Thanks a lot, Troy. Now we're going to head south, head down to Brazil, talking with Laise Pôrto, and she's going to tell us a little bit about Bahia and the food that we must eat when we go there. Oh, Laise, that makes me so want to go to Bahia. And one of the things that I actually kind of appreciate and want to go there is, for me, a flight from Dallas to Sao Paulo or to Rio is almost as long as a flight from Dallas to London, which is kind of surprising. You don't realize it, but it really is almost that far. But if I were to fly to Bahia, I would actually cut a couple hours out of that flight, a few, maybe even more than a couple. And so there's a closer opportunity to go there. So now I really want to go. But I know this, when I have traveled, it is nice to take a little break. It's nice to head to the lounge. That airport can be a little chaotic. So I would love for you to join me here in the First Class Lounge. Let's move quickly and we'll have a little bit of fun here. What is a dream travel location from your past?
One of my dream travel locations from my past was San Andres in Colombia.
Ooh.
I have been to there 3 years ago, and I just felt in love with it. You guys have to go to San Andres in Colombia because it's amazing.
This is one of the reasons. Remember how I started in the intro saying I talked to a lot of folks from the US and Europe, and I wanted to get more voices from around the world. I haven't had Colombia come up as an answer to this question, and I've wanted to go to Colombia, but I haven't heard about San Andreas. There's other places, maybe Cartagena. Yeah, no.
Cartagena, yes.
Yeah. And then there's another kind of beach area that is highly recommended that I'd want to go to, but I've not heard San Andreas. So that's a new one for the list and I'm excited about. What is, now thinking forward, what is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
It's very difficult to choose just one.
Right.
Because I have a huge list of places to go that I want to explore. But dream travel, without a doubt, is to Bali, Indonesia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because for me, it's because it mixes everything I love in a place. Connection with nature, cuisine, culture. So definitely a special place that tops the list of the upcoming destinations.
I like that one. Now, Bali has come up before. That's a very popular one. It's certainly on my list as well. Long flight for both you and me, but it's worth it to get out there, I've got to imagine. Now, we talked about Brazilian food. We talked about Brazilian culture. This question's going to be tricky, I'm sure, but what is a favorite thing for you to eat?
As I told you, I love everything new. When I travel to a place, one of the things I like to explore is the food. Definitely is the food. But I have to give a super tip here for those who will visit Brazil. You need to know Bahia and its cuisine. My favorite food that is definitely Bahian food. I cannot explain it, but you guys need to try it, and I'm sure you will remember my suggestion. Basically, we have seafood dishes with striking and different seasoning, in addition to many delicacies. So hashtag come to Bahia and glory.
I feel like, Laise, I know you're not on the tourism board, but I'm starting to feel like you might be on the Bahian tourism board with some of the ways you're telling me about this. This is nice. So favorite thing to eat, just Bahian food. Love it. Now let's go the other way. What is something your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
I grew up in a mixed family with members from all over Bahia. This contributes to a lot to my growth, especially with my taste buddies. I don't remember my parents forcing me to eat something, anything. We didn't have many choices, by the way, but we grew up learning to value our daily food and eating everything. My brothers and I have no restrictions, and we love to eat everything. So.
Wow. All right. I like that spirit. I like that indeed. So nothing forced. It was all just a food to enjoy and certainly appreciate the food that you had. That's awesome. You mentioned that you like to travel a lot, so you must have something. What is that one travel item, not including your phone, of course, but what is that one travel item that you will not leave home without?
Wow. Good question. I would say my credit card, after all. With it, I can buy anything that is missing. But if I have to choose another thing, one item that I can ever forget is my toothbrush. Definitely.
Loved hearing about that great food in Bahia, and also the simple wisdom of making sure you have your toothbrush. Amen, Laise. Very wise to share indeed. Next, we're going to head back to the States, and we talk with Aarthi Murali. Aarthi shared an interesting travel location from her past of Muscat, Oman. It's even more interesting to me now because I've never had a guest from Oman on the show, except I will. In 2023, I'll have the opportunity to record someone from Muscat, Oman. So stay tuned for that. For now, enjoy hearing Aarthi's tales of her trip. Aarthi, little change of pace here. Now, with that kind of travel demand, I've got to imagine that you are going to be seeking the first class lounge. In fact, you might say to the kids, hey, y'all sit outside there, but my husband and I, we're going to go sit in the first class lounge and relax. You put your headphones on and we'll be out here in a little bit. But join me today in the first class lounge. We will move quickly here and hopefully have some fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
Muscat, Oman.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, tell me more about that. That's a first.
I lived there briefly, but incredibly briefly when I was a child, and I found that to be the most beautiful locale with incredible weather and very hilly, very mountainous terrain, and an incredible opportunity to do a lot of outdoor activities. You know, springs deep in the hills and just the mountain climbing opportunities. It was just one of the most rugged but scenic places that I had been.
Wow. I have not had a guest mention Oman yet, and that's what a great description of it. So now you've just added that to a dream travel location that I've not been to yet. But for you, what is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I'm going to say Belize.
Okay.
It doesn't sound too far away. It should be doable, but again, in our aspiration to travel, it's on my list. Again, given my kids choose Universal every time, I have to fight to get this added to the travel agenda. But I'd love to go and visit the Mayan ruins.
Mm-hmm.
I've read a lot about it, and I have an incredible curiosity and to go and experience and step back in the past for a second and see what that was like, and just imagine what that would have been like hundreds of years back.
That's going to be really neat. So I mentioned I live in Texas, and that's just a 2-hour flight from us. And yet I've not been to Belize yet, but I've had several of my friends and colleagues have gone and have spoken very fondly of exactly what you described, getting into the Mayan culture. The diving is very good there. So definitely a place that it's almost kind of a shame that I haven't been there. Been to Mexico several times, but I need to get a little further down the Yucatan Peninsula and head over to Belize. Travel and food go hand in hand. What is a favorite thing to eat?
This is hard for me to answer because I am not a picky eater. I was very picky when I was young. I gave my parents a really hard time. I enjoy food, period. But I think for today, maybe I'll choose some Thai green curry as one of my top favorites.
Yum. Ooh, you just set my lunch plans for today. Good. Thanks, Aarthi. You know what I want a guest to say sometime? What's your favorite food? And for them to say what you just said, food, and just all of the above. So you mentioned being difficult to your parents. What's a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
All my vegetables.
All of them.
All my vegetables, bar none.
I hear that a lot. What is one travel item, not including your phone, of course, that you will not leave home without?
I really don't have anything. I think it's just my phone.
Man, I want to get to Oman hearing Aarthi talk about that. It just, one of my favorite things about the First Class Lounge is hearing people's dream destinations from the past and where they're so hoping to get to in the future. It's just delightful, and it makes me add to my travel list, which is way too long already. As much fun as this has been, I'm going to have to bring us to a close, but I'm excited about what we're going to close with. We're going to head over to Africa, specifically Cameroon, and talk with George Essama. George, like many guests talking about their home country, make me jealous and want to go visit them, so now I've added Cameroon to the list. That's what I love about CX Passport. I love having the chance to have guests from all over the globe. So we'll hop on our last flight of the day, heading over to Cameroon and talking with George. George, even if we're traveling locally, but also traveling globally, travel can be a bit of a grind. It does happen. And it can be nice to take a little break. So I'd like for you to join me here in the First Class Lounge. We'll move quickly here and hopefully have a little bit of fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
Yeah. Well, dream travel location from my past, I had the opportunity to go to Dubai a few years ago, and it was amazing. And why? Because I see that in Dubai is also a mix of culture. You see so many people coming from all over the world and having their own culture and really sharing it and expressing it somehow. And also I had to celebrate my birthday there, so it was an amazing time.
That always makes for a good trip when it's not only a great destination, but a particular important celebration as well. Well, looking forward then, what's a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Yeah, I have a friend, she went to Senegal. Senegal is another African country in West Africa, much more. And I saw the place. The place is really beautiful. And one of the things about Senegal is that they have an island that they call the island of Gorée Island.
Okay.
And in that place, slaves were going there waiting before traveling to all over the world. So it's a place full of history, not only for Africa, but also for the world. So I really love to go there one day.
That'd be interesting. Perhaps, I'm not sure what the right adjective is, disturbing, emotional, difficult to explore, but it would be fascinating to see that history as well.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned the world's best peppercorn.
Yeah.
And the world's best peppercorn probably goes on some of the best things to eat. So I'm curious, what is your favorite thing to eat?
Well, very interesting. I don't know if you will know about it, but we have a food here that we call dole.
Okay. I do not know it, but I'm learning today.
Yeah, fine. Dole is what? Dole is a vegetable that is a bitter vegetable, so it's really bitter. So we wash it to remove the bitterness, and we mix it with groundnuts and meat, and even fish sometimes. And it's beautiful. It's really interesting. You love to see it and then eat it. It's very interesting. I like it.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, George, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What's a thing that you had your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Ah, my God. We have another food here that we call groundnut soup.
Okay.
What is it? It's just a mix of groundnuts, and you just roll it, and then we cook it like a soup.
Okay.
I don't like groundnut soup. I don't like it. My parents used to give it to me, but it is not passing. I don't like it.
I love asking that question because, and it's unfortunate, listeners, you don't get to see people's facial expressions, but it just cracks me up when I ask that question each time. I get these sort of pained reactions of, wait, why are you asking me this, Rick? Oh, it's beautiful. Well, George, when you're thinking about travel, what is one travel item, not including your phone, that you will not leave home without?
Very interesting. I think it's a book I will go with. And that book for me is the Bible. Why? Because I feel that all the wisdom that anyone needs, you can find it in the Bible. Talking even about customer experience, the way you treat people and the way people treat you is very amazing. So I will go for the Bible.
Pretty deep answer coming out of the First Class Lounge. I enjoyed that. Thanks, George. That concludes the 2022 First Class Holiday Special. It's been a fun ride for me to go back and listen to some of these, and it just makes me so appreciative. I'm incredibly thankful to you, the CX Passport listener. Thank you for listening and enjoying and engaging and giving me your comments and ideas for future shows. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. And thanks for just being a part of the CX Passport community. And thank you to all the great guests. What a fantastic ride this has been in 2022. It gives me such excitement to think about what 2023 is going to be. 2023 has the 100th episode of CX Passport coming up. Hard to believe when this started in April 2021 that we're actually going to be talking about a 100th episode, but that's what we'll be talking about. But for now, it's time to end the holiday special. And I hope that everyone listening has a fantastic holiday season. I hope that you get a time of fun, a time of recharge, a time of enjoyment. And I look forward to talking to all of you in 2023. Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. Make sure to visit our website, cxpassport.com, where you can hit subscribe so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, you can check out the rest of the EX for CX website. If you're looking to get real about customer experience, EX for CX is available to help you increase revenue by starting to listen to your customers and create great experiences for every customer every time. Thanks for listening to CX Passport, and be sure to tune in for our next episode. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.